What's going on, guys? So today I'm going to run you through a brand new cashback website. It is nicediscount.net. Now, I've never talked about it before on this channel, but it is another gem of a cashback site that you can get great products to your door for practically no money or free, right? So it's going to depend product to product. It's going to depend, like I always say, on whether the seller sends it to you via friends and family on PayPal or, as a business transaction, then you might get dinged with that slight fee, right? It's also going to depend whether it's 100% free or not if you get taxed on that actual purchase on Amazon. So these are the little things that make it whether, let's say you buy a $20 product, right? And I'm going to take you through the entire tracking system that I use, and we're going to run through a trial example of scaling this business model up because I get this question a lot, how do you implement it? How do you scale it? What happens if you don't get, 100% cash back? I'm going to outline it literally in front of your eyes here so that you can see that this is how you can make it profitable. This is how you can scale it. And these are some potential issues that might arise, but this is how you deal with them, and this is why they're not really issues, okay? So what I'm trying to say is maybe you buy a product that's like $20 and you get $20 cash back, right? Because they send it to your friends and family and you didn't get taxed, right? And that happens a lot. But maybe you buy a product that's $20 and then you get taxed on it, so you end up spending like $20.60 right on the tax or something like that. And then maybe they ding you because they don't send it to friends and family, they send it as a business transaction. So when you get cash back, you only get cash back for the 20, even though you paid the 20 tax, but then you get dinged for the business transaction, so you end up with like 19.20 instead of the 20.60 that you spent, right? Then obviously it's not free like people say. Now, in my opinion, if you're getting products that cheap and high quality products that, as you can see here, you can sell some of these products back for like $60 or $50, high quality products, or $20, 15 even, right? You're still getting a ridiculous amount of free products and cheap products to your door, which you can then list on Mercari, Poshmark, and eBay and make 100% or 95% profit margin on those potential products. So it's very easy to scale. There's practically minimal risk. Another question I get asked, and we're going to run through some of the example products here in a second, is like when you actually scale up with this stuff, right? It looks like in the beginning when you don't get all your rebates back that you might not be profitable or that you're losing a lot of money, right? So let me demonstrate that here for you in a second before I show you some of the products on the actual site, right? So what I do, I always recommend that you track everything. There's many reasons that I recommend that you track everything. And yes, there are other software out there, like Inventory Lab, for example, but that's more geared towards like shipping into FBA and sourcing on other sites, like wholesale sites, or like, for tactical arbitrage and stuff like that, right? Or eFlip would even be a good example of how to track with that software. When you're doing cashback arbitrage, there really isn't a software necessarily that's too geared towards that. I just recommend that you track it, because you're going to be able to see firsthand with the data in front of you, right? The numbers don't lie, that you are profitable. It will show you, okay, you tend to be profitable on this. You tend to sell more of this type of item, so that means source more of this item. You tend to not sell this item as fast, so that means, avoid potentially sourcing items like that. You'll see what sites you're getting the best deals on, right? So you can continue to source from that site, and all sorts of the numbers. The numbers are not going to lie. So let me outline a specific example of how I might go about doing this for you. So let's just pick one of these random products and act like we bought it cashback wise, right? So we'll pull up this little broom thing. Not one of the best products. I've actually sourced this before on another site. I think it was Extreme Rebate. I don't remember. So let's pretend that this is actually here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the link. That's how I track it. And I'm going to put the link in here, right? Now, I'm also going to take the product names. All right, so these are placeholders really fast, but what I basically do, like I said, is I take the link, right, so that when I do receive this actual item, because sometimes it won't come looking like a broom. Obviously, a broom is bigger, so you'll be able to kind of identify that, but some items will come with just a little package and like slight writing on it. That's why I take the product name so I can see what the writing is potentially, match it up with the corresponding cashback product or coupon product. You can also track coupon products on the same thing, right, but then you're not going to get a rebate back, so that's always going to be zero, but your purchase price will be super, super low. So you can track them both on the same spreadsheet if you want. And if you guys ever want a spreadsheet, a cashback spreadsheet, a bulk spreadsheet, a coupon spreadsheet, a bulk spreadsheet, literally any spreadsheet, just shoot me an email. I have the templates of all of them, right? They're not going to be auto-summed like I'm going to show you here in a second, but it will help you track, and then you can auto-sum them yourself, right? I'll show you how to do that here in a second. So just shoot me an email. I'll pop my email up on the screen right now, and then I'll link you the template. I don't have a problem doing that. It's really going to help you out. I'm telling you. It's going to prove the concept, and once you prove the concept, it will inspire you to scale. So then what did I purchase this for? So let's pretend that I went ahead and I purchased this and it was $22.98, right? I didn't get taxed on it. So $22.98. And now I don't have anything in the rebate column, so you don't need a placeholder for there. Now, when I receive it, I'm going to change it to a green Y so I know that, okay, I have this received, but I haven't listed it on eBay, Poshmark, or Mercari yet, right? So Another thing on that is you can list them individually on each platform, or you can use a multi-channel listing software like List Perfectly is one that I recommend. I highly recommend looking into List Perfectly. It's relatively cheap. It works very well. It has an inventory tracking system too, so when you sell on one platform, it will remove it from the others. Highly recommend looking into that if you plan on selling on multiple platforms, but you don't need it if you just want to kind of list on all of the platforms initially, right? So then when I do go ahead and list this, if I received it and I listed it, I'm going to change it to a listed, right? It's going to be red N if I have not received it yet, and that will help me keep track of my inventory that I'm getting, because let's say I'm scrolling down, I'm continually going down, and I happen to notice that a product I purchased like 3 weeks ago, I still haven't received. Well, I can look into that in my Amazon orders and figure out what's the deal with that, and that has happened to me before, and get my money back or get a refund or message the seller or something like that, right? So track everything, don't just blindly trust. Now, let me go through and act like we're actually spending money here, but what I really want to do is I want to go down and auto sum these first to show you exactly how I keep track of this, right? So I'm going to auto sum this column right here. And all that means is it's going to add up all the totals here and sum it at the bottom in the bottom column, right? So we're going to auto sum there. Now it's $22.98 in this column. And that way I know in this bottom column right, or this bottom row right here, that's the total that I've spent on products, right? I'm also going to auto sum the rebates so I know exactly how much I got back in rebates, so I can kind of look at the correlating numbers as I scale and see how much I'm actually spending into products, which if I'm spending like 50 products and I'm getting, like 98% of my rebates back is pretty solid or something like that, right? So it will just give you an idea of the number and how much you're actually spending. Before we auto sum this, let's pretend that we actually did get a rebate back, and I'm going to scale this up with a bunch of products here in a second to show you how it can look like you're actually losing a lot of money right before you get a lot of money back, and that's why you always want to track, especially if you're doing multiple business models, right? Because if you're doing cashback and you have rebates coming from all directions, and you have products coming in and products listed and not sold yet on other platforms, and you're also scaling up like book arbitrage or bulk deal arbitrage or any of the other arbitrages at the same time, your money and your inventory is going to be everywhere. So make sure you track it so you can see the numbers and keep track of everything. It will help you, because what you track you can improve, and obviously the numbers won't lie. So let's pretend that we got $22.50 back on this rebate. Maybe we got a little bit of dinged with a business transaction, right? So I'm going to auto sum this column as well, so I can see the discrepancy in what I've actually gotten back versus what I've paid for it on rebate sites. Now, if you're tracking the same thing, if you're tracking coupons here as well, keep that in mind, because obviously you're going to be spending like 50 cents or $2 or $3 into a coupon product, so that might skew your numbers a little bit, but just keep that in mind. Now, what I'm also going to do is I'm also going to auto sum the total profit, right? So I'm interested in, what my total profit is at the end of the day. I'm also going to right here, my profit on the site, right? So what that's going to do is I want to know what my purchase price is minus the rebate, right? Because that's basically what I'm spending into the product actually to get it. So that might be 48 cents total. I spent 48 cents on this because I paid $22.98. I got $22.50 back on this actual product. But what did I profit on the site? So let's say maybe a week goes by and then I eventually sell this. I listed it at the retail price or a little bit higher at like 25, but I made a few offers and got a few likes, and eventually somebody bought it at like $15, right? So my profit on the site, if let's say we sold it on Mercari, for example, and I always keep track of the marketplace that it sold and the marketplace that I actually got the deal from as well. You don't have to do that. It's just extra data for me to actually expand this when I want to and see, hey, I'm selling about 80% of my stuff on Mercari, or I'm selling about 70% of my stuff on eBay, right? And I'm getting like 60% of my stuff on Extreme Rebate that tends to sell. So it just gives me more data to be like, okay, I probably want to source more from this site, or I probably want to list more on this site. It just gives you more data to kind of see where you're selling, where you're getting your deals. It's important information, right? So let's say we got this from, nice discount. And then what I'm interested too is I'm interested in the profit on the site. So let's say what I said, we're selling this on Mercari for $15. I always personally recommend doing, paying for the shipping, because you're going to compete with Amazon Prime and other sellers across all marketplaces. So that's what I generally recommend. Let's say this ended up being like 9 ounces. Just putting in numbers here just to kind of get an idea of what it might end up costing us. So it's going to cost us $4.99 to ship this out, $1.50 in the selling fee. So that means I profited $8.51, right? So profit on the site was $8.51. So then what's my total profit margin, right? So I can do this number of different ways. I can actually calculate this right here, or I can auto sum this column, right? So profit on the site, and this is exactly what I do. I auto sum the profit on the site column, and then I don't ever worry about inputting the total profit here because I want to know my overall total profit, right? What is this business model punching me out, right? What am I actually making, right? So then with this H column right here, and I keep it in blue to make sure that it's like this, you can also put it down here because as you, like what it actually is, because as you scale, this is going to move down. You're not going to be able to see it full-heartedly. So we're going to say like purchase price, or maybe like spent, received, profit on site, total made, right? Something like that. We'll stretch these out a little bit more. So now I want to find out what my total made is, right? So we need to put in an equation here to auto sum this so it just continues to calculate for us as we add different numbers into the spreadsheet, right? Because then at any point in time, we're going to be able to look at this total number right here and see, okay, this is what we made overall in the business model. This is what our bottom line is, so we can drive that forward and make more money, right? So we need to put in a little equation in here. So what I want to say is equals here G28 minus, and then we're going to put this in parentheses here because we want to get C28 minus D28, and then take the difference of whatever that is for G, right? So we're going to say G28 minus C28 minus D28. So C28 minus D28, right? And then boom. It's going to tell us what our total profit margin is. So now we have we have all these columns auto summed, and we have this right here to shoot us out whatever the difference in this is, obviously subtracted from this right here, and that's going to tell us what we actually made overall. And now this is important, the way to set this up, and you can obviously rewind this and watch it again if you need to understand why that is. So what you want to do, like I said, for this column is you want to take it and put an equal sign to make it auto sum for all those columns right there and get the difference, right? So equals whatever your column right here is, so maybe it's an F, right? An F23 to get your profit, right? So equals F23 minus, and then in parentheses, whatever your total that you spent minus your total received, right? Boom, and then just hit enter, and that's going to start auto summing that. Now this is super important because as you spend more into products, and this is exactly what people who start tracking ask me, is like, let's say you're spending like 25 to get a high quality product here, right? And then on the next product, you're spending like 40. And then on the next product, you're spending like 12. And then on the next product, you're spending 11. And then on the next product, you're spending 50. And then on the next product, we're just going to continue to do this, 28, 22, 100, maybe, or 105. You got a great product, 15. You got some low quality products, 11, 10, right? And you can see this is going to start adding up very, very fast. Now, maybe you got rebated for this one already and you actually got your money back. Maybe you got rebated for this one right here already and you got $27.20 back because you paid a little bit of taxes, right? But as you're looking right here, all this money that you're spending into products looks like you're losing a shitload of money. You are negative $312.77. Now, maybe you sold this one on this platform already. Boom. So you sold this, you listed it higher at like 20, and you slowly dropped the price on like Poshmark, for example, right? So Poshmark, you sold it on. Maybe you sourced this one from TestZon. Maybe you profited on a Poshmark. Maybe you actually profited like $11 because you sold it higher than retail value and somebody decided to buy it, right? And then your profit on the site was 16, right? So, what I'm trying to say is as you kind of scale this up, let's say hypothetically, let's throw some numbers in here. Maybe profit on the site was there. Your total profit ended up being like $15, right? So it does look like initially you're losing a lot of money, right? Because you're not getting any of these rebates back. But now look, as you slowly get these rebates back, let's say you got $24 there, and this is why it's super important to track it. You got $38 there. This person, and this happens every once in a while, actually sent you more because they didn't realize that. It has happened to me quite often. This person sent you $45. You actually lost a bit of money on that. That will happen from time to time as well. Now, you can obviously email the seller or email the website. I personally choose, unless it's like a big issue for me with a lot of products, I personally choose to ignore it because I'm getting all these products cheap, right? So right here, maybe you end up getting 22 back on this one. You got 102.60 on this one. And then as you get all these rebates back, you'll start to see you got 16 on this one, you got 10 on this one, you got 10 on this one, and you got 28.50 on this one, right? Now, if you look at it, you're starting to make money because you're getting all your rebates back. So now you're into the products. You have all these free products that are listed on other platforms, right? So let's pretend that you listed all these products. They haven't sold yet, right? So you have all these free products that are valuable listed on other platforms as a slow, steady drip of cash flow as they sell, right? and then you're slowly profiting off money. Maybe this one sells finally, and you didn't sell it for 100, but you sold it for 80, right? Or sorry, you sold it for 80, and then your total profit on the site after the fee was like 69, right? And then maybe this one sells, and then you sold it for, relatively low at 10, and then your total profit was like 7, right? And then finally this one sells, you sold it higher for 15, and you made $12 or $11, how about, right? And all these other ones are sitting there just waiting to sell, and as they sell, now you have free products sitting there waiting to sell that are going to profit you steady cash flow, and now you're up $137 maybe a few days later because you got all your rebates back and you started to sell some items. So that's how the business model works. Now imagine, right? Imagine if you started to scale this up. Maybe you got some more couple little tricks here too as right before we do the scale up. So when you do sell, what I do on the spreadsheet is I'll just change this into like a 1, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. And now it's really, really small, but all that data is still in there to save these numbers, right? You don't want to delete them because then it's going to change your numbers. Another little trick too, you can add another row right here. If you hit Control-Shift+, that's just going to continue to add rows, and it's not going to mess your numbers or your auto sum up at all, right? And now as you add more rows, you're going to continue to auto sum down here. Now, let's say you got more products, right? So you start to get more products and you paste these in here, and it's starting to look like, again, you're losing a shitload of money, right? But then what happens if you start to get your rebates back? As you start to get your rebates back, now you're up a lot of money. And on top of that, you have a bunch of free products sitting in eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari, like I have directly behind me, just waiting to sell and drip you steady cash flow every month. So that is how you scale the business model up. That's why I recommend that you track everything. This is literally how I do it. If you want this template with the spreadsheet, it's just literally all it is the columns right here with what I track. You're gonna have to set the auto sum up for yourself, but that's basically how I do it, right? So another great site that you can find great products on, nicediscount.net. I highly recommend that you check it out. On top of that, I am still running a New Year, New You sale on Online Arbitrage Pro at 65% off. It has never been that price before. It will go back up at the end of January. I'm just running this for the month of January. There's a few more days to get into the course at 65% off. If you want to take advantage of it, not just learn Nice Discount, right? Not just learn Cashback Arbitrage and like the 10 to 15 other great Cashback Arbitrage sites in the actual course, but 9 other online arbitrage business models that you can scale up and make money doing right from your laptop like I sit here and teach you today. If you want to hop into the course at 65% off, it will go back up after January. First link in the description for 65% off Online Arbitrage Pro. Let's look at some of these deals really fast. This is a great deal I might get. This vacuum right here, $50 vacuum, you could sell that. Looks like the deal has ended. But you could sell that, obviously, if you were able to get that back on, I'd list that on Poshmark, Mercari, and eBay for like maybe $70 and then slowly mark it down, and hopefully someone would make an offer and I'd sell it relatively close to 50. Now, keep in mind, if I sell this for 40, it's still a free, potential $40 minus the fees on that site, obviously, because I got it for free or very, very cheap, right? Same thing with this right here. This is a nebulizer machine, right? So an air compressor system. You could sell this back on eBay. Let's say you sold this back on eBay for, not even $46.99. Let's say you sold it back on eBay for $30. Still a free $30. Let's say you sold it for $15. Still a free $15. All you have to do is front the money. Now, another little side note on how you can make extra money basically doing this is use a cashback credit card, right? Because if you auto sum, you look at all the money that you've spent right here on all these products. Now, it's over $1,000, right? So if you're getting 5% back on your cashback credit card, and there's 2 credit cards that I recommend, I'll link them down in the description below. The first one is the Discover It card, and the second one is the Amazon Store card. I use them both, but I use my Discover It card more when I'm doing this. The reason being, you get 5% back on all Amazon purchases, right? So when you turn that on the Discover It card, or that comes standard on the Amazon Store card, then you're going to get 5% cash back, and it's just going to add that to your total, right? Because then let's say 5% of this is going to be like a little bit over $50. Let's say you spent, let's pull the calculator up. Let's say you spent $4,000 into products and you ended up getting like $3,900 back, right? So you ended up spending $100 into products, but really you spent $4,000 and you got $3,900 back. What is 5% of $4,000? That's $200 every month that you're going to get for free just because you use the cashback credit card, right? So I highly recommend that you look into a cashback credit card as well. It's really going to help you make a lot more money with this business model. I recommend that you check out nicediscount.net, another really great site where you can find high quality products where you can get to your door for free or very, very cheap if the rebate doesn't exactly equal what you spent, right? So check it out. Remember, Online Arbitrage Pro, First link in the description for 65% off. I hope you guys like this video. I put a lot of thought and time into it. I wanted to outline the back end of it a little bit more with a spreadsheet so you can understand a little bit more of how I track and how you can as well. Keep in mind too, it might look like you're losing money because you don't have all your rebates back, right? Or maybe you haven't sold a bunch of items yet, right? Like, you're looking at this and you're like, holy shit, I've spent all this money and all this time to list all this stuff. I've only made about $200. But what you're not keeping in mind is you've done all that work to have like 30 other products sitting in eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, right? Maybe there's like a $3,000 retail value of those that you're going to potentially see that drip, that slow, steady drip of cash flow over the next month or two, right? So that's how you scale the business model up. Remember, I've hit it home a million times, but I preach it for a reason. Track everything. It doesn't take a lot of time to do. It's really going to help you see the numbers so that what you see, you can improve.